Chilling research from Harvard University finds public mass shootings like Friday's high school shooting in Washington state are happening more often than in decades past. The aftermath of these types of tragedies include the personal toll on first responders and their families. My guest, La Mesa Police Captain Dan Willis, tackles this issue in his new book, Bulletproof Spirit. Captain Willis, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, you're a 25-year police veteran. Was there a particular case during this time that made you realize that your job was affecting you emotionally and mentally and or your family?
There was. After being on the job for about 7 or 8 years, I was right in the middle of working a very brutal homicide case. A man got taken up to the city of Compton and had his head and hands severed. And I worked that case for 5 years, pretty much nonstop. And during that process, I was immersed in this world of drug dealers and pimps and prostitutes, and I really began to lose a part of myself and became very consumed and almost overwhelmed by the job, which is really the inherent nature of police work. And if we're not careful, which has happened to so many of my colleagues, you really begin to suffer inside.
Well, you said you didn't want to end up killing yourself. How did you get better?
Well, I noticed during this process that I really didn't have any feelings anymore. I wasn't connected with anybody, not connected or engaged with my wife, with my kids. I was indifferent to everybody and everything, and again, just consumed with the work. And I noticed that, man, this is not good, and it's not going to probably end in a good way unless I really take note of how am I going to emotionally survive this career.
And is that how you came up with these training sessions and these steps basically outlined in your book on how to get better?
Yes, and it's a process. I've been a police officer now for almost 26 years, and it's a lot of what has worked for me and what I've seen in my colleagues to help really protect, heal, and nurture their spirit.
Yeah, what sort of steps do you talk about specifically, sort of some of the key factors in getting better?
Well, the first thing that I like to talk about is officers really need to become more self-aware, because if you're not aware how the job is negatively affecting you, you're not going to be able to do anything about it. So there's several warning signs. One, what I experienced, being emotionally dead inside. Sleep disorders is a big one. Most officers only get 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night, and 40% have serious sleep disorders.
Well, you also talk about PTSD also, that from these traumas and repeated traumas that first responders can do this. How do police departments actually handle, or do they address PTSD?
Well, not only is suicide the #1 cause of death for police, there's about 120,000 officers going to work every day in America with full symptoms of PTSD. So it's something that when I first came on, it wasn't talked about at all. At least now the conversation is more around about, hey, the job really does very seriously affect you. You can develop symptoms of PTSD, but if you do, there are effective treatments for it to help you process it and move forward.
Okay, specifically with police officers, these are the tough guys out there. Are they open to asking for help for themselves or their families?
They're getting more and more so. I mean, yeah, we're the tough guys, but you know, we really are human like everybody else. We suffer, we fear, and we bleed like everyone else. And we see things that nobody should really ever see, and we see them over and over and over again over the life of a career. And if the officers aren't trained how to do those proactive things for them to survive emotionally, then they're not going to be in a very good state.
How much do you think the public actually understands about the stress that comes with being a first responder?
I really don't think the public really understands what we go through, and I hope that just the conscious awareness of what first responders go through becomes more well known, because when an officer comes out, you have no idea, and you're upset because it took him so long to show up. You don't know if he just held a baby in his arms and watched it die, or whether he was in a fight for his life, or what, maybe he's had 2 hours of sleep every night for last week. So I just hope there's a little more understanding of what these officers are going through. And like I said, we're human too, and we need help.
Now, you have a wellness program. You do wellness training based on this book, and it's in the La Mesa Police Department. What effect has that had in that department?
I think it's had a significant impact. Before, we've lost many officers who got involved in shootings, who didn't know how to deal with critical incidents. And a couple years ago, once the program had been going for a while, entire squad ended up getting involved in a fatal shooting. One officer was very seriously hurt by that. And we helped him out along the process, and he credits what we've been able to do for him for not only saving his career, but he also said, I probably wouldn't be here.
All right, well, we have a lot more information about this on our website, kpbs.org. Police Captain Dan Willis, thank you very much.
Thank you.